So let's talk about Ezekiel 38. Theologians, Bible prophecy teachers can agree to disagree. I know a lot of times we agree, we just disagree on the timeline, right? A lot of times we agree on these things will happen. The issue where people disagree is on the time. When I watch what's happening in the Middle East right now, it seems as though it really is that scenario, that coalition talked about, that Gog-Magog coalition that comes against Israel. Could this be that coalition? And could this happen before the removal of the church? What are your thoughts?
Well, it could be, because like you say, time is filtered out. One of the incredible things about prophecy, sometimes like I think of the passage in Zechariah, I think of another one in Daniel, there's 2,000 years between one verse and another. Or even remember when the Lord was reading, when he was on the earth, he read from Isaiah, and he stopped in the middle of a verse. He said, this day these things are fulfilled. The very next verse, it talks really about the time that is yet to come, a millennial kingdom. So there, in the middle of a verse, there was a pause of 2,000 years. So if we come to this passage and we say, okay, we don't know if it's this month or next month, it's okay. But I'm one who believes that the church is going to be raptured. I think the final stage of the Magog-Gog war, Ezekiel 38 and 39, takes place after we're gone. And I have several verses that I think are kind of key to that. But to be honest, I think it's more important to say there's going to be a pre-trib rapture. And because I believe that there is a pre-trib rapture, then I look for Christ's return at any time. And then when I go to Ezekiel 38 and 39, and I see the details explained in that, it makes me think that the church is gone. Now another thing that's very important about that, if we're seeing the beginning of the Ezekiel 38, 39 conflict, and if it really is fulfilled in the tribulation, wow, that means that we're really, really close to the Lord calling believers home to be with him. So that's why I look for it every day, is because I really think that we're seeing the beginning of it.
So you do think Gog-Magog happens after the rapture?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and why do you believe that?
Well, if we go to Ezekiel 38, and so much is happening in the news that I found myself rereading Ezekiel 38 and 39. When I tell you almost every other day, that's just how it occurs. But in verse 8, it says this, after many days thou shalt be visited in the latter years. So we all agree we're in the latter years. And then it says, you'll come back to the land that is brought back from the sword, is gathered out of many people against the mountains of Israel, which have been always waste, but is brought forth out of the nations, and they shall dwell safely, all of them. So Israel is at a time when they're dwelling safely. I don't think they're there yet. Look at the wars on 7 fronts. So I think there's going to be an event that's going to take place that's going to bring some semblance of peace. And then what happens, I think Israel gets tricked by the Antichrist. He promises peace. So when I see all these people trying to negotiate behind Israel's back, and kind of the shadow governments, there's a shadow government that's trying to gain power. There's another shadow government, sometimes I think that's always trying to broker peace. Every president has wanted to broker peace in the Middle East, and none of them have been successful to bring about a full one. But then it says, in addition to the fact that they dwell safely, then it says this, verse 11, thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages. I will go to those who are at rest, who dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls, having neither bars or gates. And that's not true today. We're not at a place where there's unwalled villages. We're not at a place where there's no walls, no gates you could pass through. But it describes that, and it says that when that condition comes, then verse 10, the verse that we skipped over on purpose, it says that someone's going to think, and I think it's the leaders that propagate this, Rosh in particular, is going to think an evil thought. So after everyone agrees to peace, then Russia says, okay, here I go, I'm going to come. And they come specifically for something that's of treasure, of gain, and like you mentioned as you opened the show, it could well be the hidden treasures that I think are in the Qumran area, or it could be the wealth of the Dead Sea, or it could be the gas that Israel has, and maybe even the oil that I think they're going to end up with before it's all over. So there's something that's going to trap them economically, but they're going to think an evil thought. What would be an evil thought more than to say, okay, we just agreed to a peace. The whole world looked for peace. The whole world's been begging for peace. Israel, don't defend yourself. Stop attacking Hamas. Stop attacking Hezbollah. Stop attacking the Syrian munition piles. So finally, everyone agrees. Russia says, wow, I've got a thought. This is my chance to come and to take this spoil, to take this gain. See, Russia doesn't mind making a deal and breaking a deal. That they have no baseline, they have no truth complex. And so I can see them making that deal. I think the other spoke that we got to put in here is based on Daniel chapter 9, verse 27. I think the Antichrist is a part of this. So I think he will be the peacemaker. I think Russia will be the opportunist, and they will be pulled down, maybe by their allegiance to some of these countries, but they're going to say, "Wow, this is our time to get some profit."
So let's go back. That's very interesting. So right now, what we're seeing is all of us waiting to see if Israel's going to strike Iran and kick this thing into full war, and maybe they will. And the world's like, "This is out of hand. We got to stop that." But all of this confusion, tell me if I got your timing right on this. All of this confusion that's going on over there could be what sparks a world leader to be able to come on the scene and calm it all down and give us that period of peace for a few years, maybe.
Yeah.
And then it's broken, and then that's the invasion.
Yeah. But I would say a few years or a few months or a few weeks.
Okay.
Things tend to, because the pot is so hot, things tend to boil quickly. And, like I've mentioned on the show a couple times, here's a Max Hochstein, Jewish man, found favor with both the Arab side, the Israeli side, made incredible deals with selling gas and honored by so many presidents in the past, never been elected to an office, but he's kind of a favored child. Right now, we have a senator in the Middle East trying to make a deal in the back door with Saudi Arabia. And everyone's trying to make a deal.
Isn't Lindsey Graham over there doing something?
Yes, it is Lindsey Graham. And so he goes there. I'm not sure who he's representing, but it's interesting that with all this going on, and supposedly he's a semi-friend or a friend, let's say, to Israel, and yet he's over there trying to broker peace. Well, I believe that Saudi Arabia might be a key factor in this thing. And the reason is because, remember, they were on the brink of recognizing Israel in a special way, and they actually were going to allow Israel to have rights to the Temple Mount. They were going to pay a huge fee to be the curator of the Temple Mount.